Black Myth Wukong is an action RPG and is one of my most anticipated games of 2024. It was all the way back in August of 2020 when we first saw that gameplay reveal. Damn, that was a long time ago. Fast forward a few years and the game is right around the corner, and there are so many details to run through, especially with that final trailer that got released not long ago. So here are 10 things you need to know about Black Myth Wukong, and just FYI, it's delayed on Xbox because of that damn Xbox Series S. The story of Black Myth Wukong is directly taken from the novel Journey to the West, which was written all the way back in the 16th century. I'm not too familiar with Chinese mythology, but this is based off Sun Wukong, who is also known as the Monkey King. Sun Wukong is very popular in Chinese history, and it has made its way into the media from anime to TV shows and now the game. And the story starts with a magical rock being infused with the essence of Earth and the heavens, and after 1,000 years the stone cracked and gave birth to a fully grown monkey. He becomes the king of the monkeys, and as they have achieved so much, he becomes fearful of death and seeks to find the secrets to immortality. Just like some of these live service games, they seem immortal at this point as they're still going. Take Concord. He seeks on his journey and trains with an immortal sage, and this is where he develops his magical abilities, such as transforming into many different animals, which we see Sun Wukong can do in the gameplay, which looks insane. So he becomes more powerful and quite arrogant, so he sets off on his own path. And he convinces the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea to win himself a magical staff that can change size and help with his combat. You can see in the gameplay trailer that he takes the staff out of his ear and then it fully extends. What's crazy is that Wukong becomes so strong and is still not happy with his position and power, as he doesn't have a position in heaven. So the gods or the heavens give him a low ranking position, and his new position is to guard over the immortality Peach Garden. Heaven underestimated Wukong and he ate their godly ambrosia and gained immortality, and now he wants war with the heavens. That's the backstory of it, and I think it's good to know because, you know, something like Elden Ring, I didn't actually research it, and I've played through the game, beat the game, I've nearly beaten the DLC, and I still don't know what an Elden Ring is. What? Now, number 9, when we first saw the gameplay to Black Myth Wukong, is that I thought this would be a Souls-like game. It looked like that, and I thought, oh my, this is going to be very hard for someone like myself and a lot of other players. But it isn't. You do have a stamina bar, but you will focus on using light and heavy attacks, and you will focus on dodging, which looks like this is the main focus of the game, and you can use up to 3 rolls before there is a slight cooldown. And this reminds me a little bit of Kena Bridge of Spirits, and I really loved that combat. There was no block button, it was just rolling, and it was all about learning the enemy attacks. It changed up the gameplay. If you dodge at the right time, then the time will slow down very slightly, so you can then get those heavy attacks in. You can use your staff to somewhat block upcoming projectiles, but there is no block or parry button in the game, and I only think this is a good thing. I feel like it would be easy for some developers to go straight for what is popular at the moment, what is the trend. And don't get me wrong, I love games with a parry button, block, especially something like Elden Ring. I don't use the parry button a lot, I'm not very good. Stellar Blade, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but I'm glad they're changing it up because I just want something a little bit different. And there are also 3 stances in the game which look incredible. The smash stance is the default stance, allows you to perform light and heavy attacks, also chained attacks. The pillar stance is where Wukong will be able to extend his staff and stand on top of it to avoid attacks from the ground. You can then unleash a devastating attack from above. Now, as long as you're up there, it will reduce your stamina, but the way his staff increases in size depending on what enemy you are fighting against you will probably have to use this quite a lot, and this is unlocked at level 5. Then there is the thrusting stance, which is unlocked at level 20, and this is where it looks like you hold a button and then it builds up and then you unleash a devastating attack. Have to kind of figure out when you're going to use this because it's going to take a bit of time to build up. With these stances, it feels like Ghost of Tsushima, and I think they nailed that with the stances. Depending on what enemy you were fighting against, you would have to change your stance, and the way you use your sword will change, and then it's effective against certain enemies. There is no block or parrying, but there will be an ability later on in the game that will enable you to take on a stone form, which will allow you to absorb a hit and stagger the enemy and counter attack. Overall, I'm very impressed with the combat. And how hard is it going to be? Stellar Blade early gameplay footage showed that it was really quick, and then they seem to have slowed it down a hell of a lot. There's no telling where it can go. One thing that will interest you is that there is no difficulty option. So it's hard to say, will this game be too hard? Will it be very hard? Will players find it easy and be like, I wish there was a difficulty level? I assume it's going to be very hard. There's so many abilities and spells and transformations which we're going to come to, but the possibilities seem endless. Like even this ability where he can Doctor Strange himself into multiple versions which look incredible. Now in number 8, what makes this game even more insane is the transformations that we're going to be able to do in this game. In this trailer, you see this massive blue monk. He disintegrates into the air, but you see Wukong retrieve it into this kind of bottle. And looks like this is where, as you beat different enemies and bosses, you could take their form or power of some sort. And I guess as you go along in the game, you will accumulate these different enemies' forms, and then you can use them. You can see shortly after that, he transforms into this blue monk whilst in combat. You can then transform into a bug, which is shown in some of the gameplay to sneak past certain enemies, infiltrate camps or enemies and surprise them, or even evade attacks. And you unlock more of these throughout the game. And throughout the latest trailer, we got to see more transformations. During battle, you can transform into some sort of beast that creates a fire staff, and then you have these quick attacks. There is also a slow moving transformation that looks like it's made up of skulls and is very slow moving, but looks like it's the best for defense, which means maybe at some points in the game you have to run through certain enemies and you can't just beat them all because of the amount of projectiles coming at you. But along with that defensive transformation, you can also jump and also attack, although it seems quite slow. There is another transformation that looks like a bit of a slug, and on his hand you can see these blades that come out. Maybe these create a bit more distance between enemies. And there is also a big blast that you can create to stagger a lot of enemies in quite a large area. The next one we saw in the final trailer is that he has these tentacles to attack enemies, but he looks like he can use the environments and rocks around him to throw at enemies. And you can use these tentacles to raise himself to avoid certain attacks. And then just before he comes down, he then smashes the ground. And then this last transformation, he turns into the Incredible Hulk. There are also spells in the game, which there are going to be quite a few. One of them you get early on in the game is to immobilize and freeze your enemy before they attack, so you can move out of the way or get the attack in first. You can even transform into a tree if you want to avoid detection, like in some of the gameplay. You're just like, you know, nope, I'm not fighting him. At number 7, there are going to be over 80 bosses and more than 160 different enemy types. This is crazy how many there are going to be. And it is just exciting to see the variety in these enemies, especially the big bosses. Also in that final trailer, we got to see a lot of NPCs and characters in the game. There's a fox, there's a couple of old men, which refer back to the novel, but I don't really know too much, so I can't really say who they are. You see this guy with horns, and then this woman here that doesn't look too friendly, and what I've researched is that she could be the spider demoness in her human form. Monkey, a dragon, a tiger. Can't wait to meet all of these characters, especially this baby eating watermelon. The one thing I'm excited about with Black Myth Wukong is that it isn't going to be an open world game. I think that's only a good thing. This is much more of a linear experience. It's been described to be similar to God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, so I have no complaints. You will navigate through these levels with branching paths. Like God of War, there will be a lot of exploration, hidden treasures, and bosses to find. This is based in ancient China, so the regions that we will be able to visit will be vastly different, such as Black Wind Mountain, Purple Cloud Mountain, Thunder Temple, Yellow Sand Ridge. And in the final trailer, we see Wukong going through a portal, which might suggest this will be the way we will travel to get to the other worlds or different places. I really do think we need a change of pace instead of just going for the bloated open world. If you're looking to buy a lot of games, you've got Star Wars Outlaws, you've got Assassin's Creed Shadows if you actually want to buy those. I feel like we've had a lot of open world games, and it's nice to have a more linear experience. I don't always want to be playing like 50 hours worth of, listen, I ain't got a lot of time. And in 2020, they did suggest that this would take around 15 hours to complete. We're not sure what that really means. Does this mean 15 hours 100%? Does it mean just to complete the story? Could this be longer or shorter? That was all the way back in 2020. That's 4 years of development since then, so I assume the game wasn't as complete as it is now, so there's no real telling. And it's also been suggested that there are multiple endings of the game, which also has a new game plus already at launch, and that is so good. We need that with games like God of War Ragnarok. I was pissed off that there was no new game plus. I haven't actually beat it again, even though I've platinumed it. Even Spider-Man 2, I would have played it again straight away. Whilst the buzz and the hype of the game is there, you will just dive back in and do another new game plus. If it comes 6 months later, the hype's already gone. The customization, and yes, there's going to be customization in this game. In the world, you will find loot that you will be able to use to craft items and armor pieces that will then provide bonuses and certain attributes. The staff can be modified as well as both cosmetic and functionality, which means based off your style, you will be able to choose what sort of player you want to be. That's great. There will be a skill tree as well, which you can then respec, and there will be side quests and merchants, which I'm assuming you will then be able to purchase new gear and armor. When you wear a complete set of an armor, you will then get additional bonuses and buffs. I feel like that's going to be very exciting to be able to customize that much of Wukong. We have to talk about the graphics of this game. There is no doubt that this looks like a current gen game. I think this looks incredible, and I feel like the lighting, if any of you say it doesn't, I don't know what your expectations are, but this game is truly current gen. I have to say current gen. It's not next gen. We're like how many years into this generation? The lighting, the character models, even the little baby eating the watermelon, but not just that, the bosses, the architecture. My mind is blown how good this game is going to look. This game is coming out on the 20th of August, right round the corner, and it is coming to PS5, PC, and unfortunately it isn't coming to Xbox at this moment because of the Xbox Series S. They have to optimize it more. They need more time. Don't know why they actually decided to do a Series S. There's just no point. It's making you lose money. And if you do have a PC, on the screen is the PC requirements, which I can imagine this is going to look incredible on PC. The only thing that really disheartened me is that there's going to be no physical release for now.
No. Wait.
The reason is that because this is their first proper game, they did say something about the logistics of having physical copies and shipping it over was too complicated, so it is going to take more time. At least it isn't a no. It's going to come somewhat in the future. Not sure when. Damn it. The standard edition is $59.99. The digital deluxe, which is $69.99, which will include the following on the screen. Deluxe edition, which is $169.99, which will include all of the same on the digital deluxe, and then also a steelbook case and some other things on the screen. But then you will have the collector's edition coming in at $400. Damn.
Wow.
Which it does look amazing. I have to say that statue of Wukong looks amazing. I am a sucker for those sort of things. I've got a few bits there. Assassin's Creed Mirage, Spider-Man. I will not be buying it. It's way too expensive and we're moving soon, so I'm going to be broke anyway, and yeah, so it is a lot of money, but that statue does look good. My final thoughts of Black Myth Wukong. It is one of my most anticipated games of this year, and I love it that it's based on Chinese mythology, and we are getting much more of a smaller game, and they're not trying to follow the trend. No block, no parry, not an open world. This could just be the kick we need for developers to start focusing on making a good game, stop following the trend. Even though this is their first game, I've got very high hopes with Black Myth Wukong. If you're not a fan of Souls games, that is not a problem because this game is not what it is. It is going to be slightly easier than Souls game, but there is only one difficulty level, so we'll just have to see how hard that is going to be. I will be streaming this game on the day of release, which is very exciting. So if you want to see a first impressions of the game before you make any purchase, you can then see me when that comes out, and we can kind of just find out together how good this game is going to be, because I'm expecting it to be good. It is a shame that there's going to be no physical release. At least there's going to be one in the future. Alan Wake 2 said they wouldn't release a physical copy, and then they haven't made any money, so now they've done it. You should have just gone with the physical release. More and more people would have bought it. At least we know it's not because of that reason. What do you think about Black Myth Wukong? Is it your sort of game? Have you got high hopes? Are you waiting for reviews? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know. Let's take a look at the comment of the day from my previous video. 10 worst PlayStation games of 2024. Shout out to Book Borrower. You are absolutely right about live service oversaturation. The industry needs to get this message. Most gamers are adults with jobs and huge gaming backlogs. We don't have unlimited time, and if you're into live service games, you will probably only be focusing on one title. Helldivers 2 most probably. Thanks for the comment, dude, really appreciate it. And yeah, like in my previous video, I feel like the next years coming, live services will be slowing down a hell of a lot. It's just, there's just so much saturation. And even something like Helldivers 2, but even with that, they had their new big update and the player feedback wasn't actually that great, which is a little bit worrying because you should see a sudden surge of players coming back in. I've only played it once on the weekend with a friend, and then I've just got back to playing Final Fantasy Rebirth. I feel like the next 2 years of gaming, they're going to be a hell of a lot better. Less live service games. Well, let's get Concord out the way.